Hi, my name is Victor Corbian. I'm the inventor of the 9 Secrets of Peak Performance in Sports. This is a part of a long interview that I did with Max Johnson. So to keep it short, what I've done is I'm going to read you the questions that I was asked and tell you the answers that I did throughout this interview. So here are the interview questions about the 9 Secrets of Peak Performance in Sports. So the first question was that he asked me was, what did I do before I was famous for the 9 Secrets of Peak Performance in Sports? Well, basically, at that time, I was provincial, regional, and national, and also international karate champion for Team Canada. Although I was at the elite level in karate, I still had problems achieving and maintaining peak performance on a consistent level. I even searched out top gurus and experts, and they didn't know the solutions to my problems. So after that long frustration process, I decided to do my own research on how to solve my own problems. And this took me over 16 years to research and thousands of trial and error. And this process to finally come up with a practical system that works not only in karate, but in all sports. The other question, number 2, was why do people call it the biggest discovery in sports for the past 100 years? Well, basically it's because the system can diagnose, pinpoint, and solve up to 95% of all problems, frustrations, and concerns that athletes experience and desperately want to solve now in their sport. Not in 6 months, not in 6 years or whatever. It gives athletes also the results between 5 to 50% range. We've seen a lot higher, but this is the average range, between 5 to 50%. The results have been experienced within a few minutes to a couple of hours training. This is the majority that have had instant results like this. Some athletes, it's taken them a few days to a week, but it's a lot better taking up to a week to solve these problems that might take you 6 months or 6 years, or it might take you 20 years, and even then you might not be able to solve them. It enables athletes to achieve peak performance on a consistent level, and it gives athletes also the full control over their training and performance once and for all. Now, how did I get started with the 9 Secrets of Peak Performance in Sports? Well, it's like I said before, I had my own problems. I had certain days where I had on and off days. When the on days were, then everything was clicking, everything was working. I was in the flow, I was in the zone, and I couldn't do anything wrong even though if I tried. But when I had those off days, then I would experience like performance slumps where it seemed that it was. I wasn't able to get out of that. I was in a really negative and dark place that I couldn't get out of. I couldn't control or achieve the peak performance level that I wanted on a consistent level. Also, I couldn't control my training, and then what that led to is that I experienced training and performance slumps. And what I found is that even the top gurus and experts, they don't know how to solve those things. The only thing they can tell you is that to train hard or get in better shape and do these things, train your techniques for thousands of times, and hopefully, yes, with that things will work themselves out. But it doesn't work out because if you can't diagnose, pinpoint, and solve the problem, you're still going to experience those horrible, training and performance slumps. So what are the 9 Secrets of Peak Performance in Sports? Well, there are 3 components of the system. Number 1, there is timing, which basically controls the speed, rhythm, and reflex. Component number 2 is called body mechanics, which controls the power, balance, center of gravity, and the alignment and energy and breathing of your whole body. And component number 3 is what I call mental focus. It's basically enables you to reprogram your mind with the proper software that will enable you to achieve peak performance. It's an unbelievable process with the mind, because you can now control your fears. You can get rid of your negatives and your self-sabotage, and you can have the proper mental focus to do and accomplish whatever you want. So the whole system is basically made out of 9 secrets, which are timing, speed, rhythm, reflex, body mechanics, power, balance, breathing, and mental focus. So what problems, frustrations, and concerns can this system solve? Well, it can solve an inconsistent training or performance. It enables you to train and experience your performance without experiencing those horrible slumps that all athletes go through and can't seem to get out of. It gives you back to full control over your mind and body. Also, this control, you can control your on and off days. I mean, when you experience those on days, it's fantastic. Everything is in the flow and in the zone. But when you have those off days, this is where the problems comes in. But if you can eliminate those off days, then you can control your performance. It enables athletes also to diagnose, pinpoint, and solve their worst training and performance problems within minutes to a few hours, while producing between 5 and 50% improvements instantly. So why do they call me Mr. Fix-It for Sports? Well, it's a sports reporter by the name of Neil Hodge did an article, quite a long article on me, because of all the successes we were having in karate and also with other sports. And the heading in the sports column was Meet Mr. Fix-It. So when I seen that, I thought, well, this is basically what I do. I fix the problems and concerns and frustrations of athletes. So that's when some other people started calling me Mr. Fix-It for Sports. So that's basically the short story of why they call me Mr. Fix-It for Sports. Another question they asked me, who have been my top 3 mentors, teachers, and inspiration in the field of the 9 secrets of peak performance in sports? Well, I didn't have any. And this is why it took me over 16 years to research and to finally develop the system. When you develop something brand new, there's nothing you can base it upon, because you're in uncharted waters. You're experimenting. It's not as if you can go and see a certain guru or an expert and say, well, explain to me what timing is and how do you adapt it in sports, or explain to me about speed and rhythm and reflex and body mechanics and mental focus. They can't do it. And again, these top experts and stuff, they mean well for the most parts, but again, the only thing they can tell you is train hard, get in great shape, practice your movements and techniques for thousands of times, and eventually, within time, things will work themselves out. But do you have 6 months? Do you have 6 years? Do you have 60 years? A lot of athletes only have sometimes 6 months or a couple of years to train their peak in their sport. So they need results, solutions now, not in the future where nobody can really tell them when it's going to happen. So they need the tools to get the job done now. How long did it take me to get good at or accomplish the 9 secrets of peak performance in sports? Well, it took me over 16 years of research into this. It was a long process. I did thousands of experiments. I looked at everything. I took things apart. I put it back together. But finally, I stumbled on the secret code that gave me step 1 to get step 2 and 3 and so on. So it took me a long time, but it's really worth it, because it's the only thing that I found that really works. And also, what's nice about the system, it can be learned from between the age, it doesn't matter if you're 6 or 60 years old. Also, what we found is that it produces instant results. As soon as you use the techniques, you get results now, not in 6 months or 6 years or whatever. And the best part, it works in all sports. with fantastic results. Like a lot of people will say, well, what do what's a karate guy going to teach me in hockey? Or what's a karate guy going to teach me in baseball or whatever?